and welcome to this edition of Culture Mosaic, a weekly culture journal that brings you the latest updates on the Vietnamese cultural and entertainment scenes. In this week's episode, let's meet a nearly 70-year-old Vietnamese artist who has devoted herself to teaching the art of playing the monochord and from that spread patriotism in younger generations. Apart from monochord, Truong is also a traditional musical instrument of Vietnam, and through it, an American musician also found his way to spread the love for the country. So let's watch them and enjoy the different angles they would bring us. From music, we'll get to cartoon, and let's get to know a Vietnamese storyboard artist. From an intern in Pixar to head of story in Netflix, he has come a long way in establishing a standing in Hollywood, contributing to the increase of Vietnamese representation in one of the most competitive environments. So stay tuned, we're coming your ways in just a minute. Woman artist instills patriotism in younger generations. Vietnamese American animator takes Hollywood by storm. And American musician enchanted by Truong, a folk musical instrument. Now, let's begin with some local news. Vietnam's tourism destinations and brands were named among the top 16 awardees at the 2022 World Travel Awards recently held in Oman. Notably, Vietnam has been recognized as the world's leading heritage destination for the third time since 2019. Meanwhile, several of the country's popular locations won a series of prestigious titles, with Hanoi being named the world's leading city break destination. Mộc Châu district in the northern mountainous province of Sơn La named the world's leading regional nature destination. Tam Dao town in the northern province of Vĩnh Phúc named the world's leading town destination, and Phu Quoc Island recognized as the world's leading nature island destination. In addition, many famous Vietnamese hotels, resorts and airlines and travel agencies also snagged prizes in the awards top categories. The exhibition Heaven in the Central Highlands and the fashion show Silk Heritage Road took place in Đà Lạt City, Lâm Đồng Province. The events were held to kick off the 2022 Đà Lạt Flower Festival season. The event Heaven in the Central Highlands showcased more than 5,000 antiques collected over the past 40 years by Central Highlands ethnic groups. The massive collection provided visitors with insight into the culture of the Highlands. The fashion and art show titled Silk Heritage Road, meanwhile, featured unique silk costumes with a brocade pattern on a stage designed on the surface of Xuân Hương Lake. A fashion show entitled Sea in the Forest recently took place in the northern province of Vĩnh Phúc. The show was held by two designers, Ha Duy and Vân Anh Scarlett, in the romantic space of a pine forest, with many celebrities participating as models. Notably, a number of models of different shapes, sizes, and ages also took part in the show. The fashion show also featured models with disabilities, conveying the message that clothes can help women shine no matter who they are and what size they are. The collection featured a range of 60 impressive designs which highlighted the details of each costume. Chèo and Lên Đồng, two iconic Vietnamese folk music genres, have been incorporated into an orchestra for the first time under the direction of Polish conductor Wojciech Zepil. A piece titled The Dance of Chèo and Lên Đồng was performed as part of the show, a night of modern and classical music held at the concert hall of the Vietnam National Academy of Music. The piece is a brand new composition by musician Đặng Hữu Phúc. Through the piece, he was able to create a dramatic musical structure that allowed chào tunes to blend in easily with other elements, creating a Vietnamese festival-like atmosphere for audiences. And for the first time, a soloist performance of the Vietnamese praise drum was staged for the piece. The incorporation of two genres of Vietnamese folk music with a symphony orchestra has contributed to the preservation and promotion of Vietnamese culture to the world. Ho Chi Minh City's authorities will organize the second Ho Chi Minh City International Music Festival, or HOZO, next month after a 3-year hiatus. This year's lineup will feature performances from celebrated Vietnamese and international artists, including Babyface, an American singer, songwriter, and a record producer who has won 12 Grammy Awards. People will be able to enjoy the performances via metaverse. In addition, hot air balloons will be flown to open the main music fest. The event will be held at the Thủ Thiêm 2 Bridge Park in Thủ Đức City and Nguyễn Huệ Pedestrian Street in District 1 and is expected to attract 500,000 people. Born in the peaceful countryside of northern Vietnam, meritorious artist Thanh Tâm has a childhood full of beautiful memories. Deep inside, she never forgets her homeland, the bamboo leaves waving in the wind, wooden boats floating on the river, and endless green rice fields where storks flew with their wings outstretched. Those familiar scenes were embedded in her mind and inspiring the little girl to nurture her deep love for the homeland. And that's why she decided to spend her whole life searching for ways to keep those memories alive through the sound of the traditional Vietnamese monochord. Despite her retirement, the nearly 70-year-old artist has devoted herself to passing down the art of playing the monochord through generations, as she hopes this traditional instrument can nurture the love for homeland in each Vietnamese citizen.
Khi còn nhỏ thì tôi đã rất là yêu thích cây đàn bầu. Mặc dù chưa một lần nào nhìn thấy nó, nhưng mà cái tiếng của nó làm cho tôi lay động. Mỗi một dân tộc đều chọn cho mình một cái cây đàn để nói cái tiếng của dân tộc đó. Các cụ ta đã chọn cây đàn bầu là một cây đàn để nói lên tiếng nói của người Việt Nam, nói lên tiếng lòng của người Việt Nam. Tôi nghe đàn bầu thì tôi thấy cứ hiện lên rất nhiều những hình ảnh quê hương, gốc cây đa, bến nước, sân đỉnh. Và tôi luôn luôn quan niệm là đàn bầu đương hát những khúc hát dân ca quê mình.
As someone who's played the monochord for more than 50 years, people's artist Thanh Tâm has discovered that it has many unique features that she can't see in other musical instruments. The monochord can produce sounds that represent a wide range of people's emotions. On the monochord, artists can play the chords and melodies of Vietnamese folk songs from the three regions. As such, Tâm can make monochord arrangements for folk songs to show her deep love for the homeland.
Tôi viết nhiều những cái bài tập kỹ thuật cho đàn bầu. Trong những cái bài tập kỹ thuật đấy thì bao giờ những cái nét giai điệu của tôi là cũng là những cái dân ca Bắc Bộ, dân ca Trung Bộ và dân ca Nam Bộ. Bản thân tôi cũng dạy rất nhiều các bạn ở các nước, từ Âu sang Á, từ châu Phi, châu Mỹ. Các bạn khi mà tiếp xúc với đàn bầu thì đều rất là ngưỡng mộ cái tiếng đàn bầu Việt Nam. Một cây đàn chỉ có 1 giây thôi, nhưng mà rất là sâu sắc. Và nhiều người ta bảo người ta ngỡ ngàng, ta không thể hiểu được là một cái đất nước ở tận đầu tận đâu ấy mà người ta chỉ nghe tiếng chiến tranh ấy, mà tại sao lại có một cái đàn giai điệu nó đẹp thế?
According to People's artist Thanh Tâm, peoples whose jobs involves monochord studying, teaching, playing, and learning should be aware of their responsibility of preserving and promoting the monochord's cultural values. Those who want to become monochord players must learn to play the instrument at an early age. As such, teachers and students can build a strong emotional bond between them. A devoted, enthusiastic, responsible, and strict teacher, People's artist Thanh Tâm has remained in the hearts of her students.
Hình ảnh, những cái ấn tượng nhớ ghi sâu ấy, đó là cô giáo rất là hiền dịu, ân cần và hết mực thương yêu học trò. Tiếng đàn của cô Thanh Tâm như một người phụ nữ, người mẹ rất là sâu lắng, và khi mà thể hiện lên cái tiếng đàn thì là nó chạm đến trái tim của mọi người luôn. Nghệ sĩ nhân dân Thanh Tâm là người có công rất lớn trong cái việc đào tạo, biểu diễn cũng như là quảng bá cây đàn bầu. Học sinh của cô ấy hầu hết là các nghệ sĩ đàn bầu nổi tiếng, hiện đang công tác và biểu diễn trên toàn quốc.
Khi mà mình đi học ấy thì mình phải để ý xem bây giờ thầy đánh như nào là mình bắt chước. Đầu tiên đối với học sinh trung cấp thì phải bắt chước giống thầy đã. Nhưng khi nào bắt đầu các con lên đại học ấy lại đòi hỏi về cái óc sáng tạo và phải có một cái tôi ở trong đó. Thế thì lại không nhất thiết là phải cứ giống thầy y chang, mà phải học được những cái ngón đàn tinh tế của thầy đó. Còn mình cũng phải có mình ở trong đó. Mình phải luôn để ý.
Nghệ sĩ nhân dân Thanh Tâm chính là người đầu tiên đã nắn cho tôi những cái nốt nhạc đầu tiên. Với bà, một cái điều rất nhỏ thôi nhưng sẽ là một cái nền tảng rất lớn cho cả một cái sự nghiệp sau này của học trò mình.
Thế, đánh thế nhưng mà nó không hay bằng, đúng không? Cả câu như đây, bác đánh cả câu này. Thế nhưng mà nếu bây giờ này đánh thế này hay hơn này. Thấy không? Thấy hai câu nó khác nhau.
Nếu muốn thành công trong bất cứ một lĩnh vực nào thì người ta phải cần tình yêu, và sau đó là sự cần cù học hỏi. Cho đến bây giờ tôi vẫn học lớp trẻ, vì không ai là toàn vẹn cả. Nếu mình muốn tiến xa thì mình càng phải học.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, DC League of Super Pets, Penguins of Madagascar. What does these high-profile Hollywood animated films have in common? They have the participation of Nguyễn Hoàng Vi Diệu, also known as V, a Vietnamese-American animator, in the position of storyboard artist. From an intern in Pixar to head of story in Netflix, V has come a long way in establishing a standing in Hollywood, contributing to the increase of Vietnamese representation in one of the most competitive industries in the U.S. So in our On the Mic this week, we'll connect with V all the way to Los Angeles to talk animation and hear his story.
We're the elitist of the elite. Up high.
Penguins of Madagascar.
Whoa, hey now.
Wake up, buddy. It is walk o'clock.
Super Pets.
Maybe I should let him.
I can teach you to
An Oscar winner Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. These popular Hollywood animation productions are notable for the quality of animation. But little did many people notice that one of the contributors to the storyboards of these animated films is a Vietnamese-born animator based in Los Angeles. Over the course of 20 years, Nguyen Hong Video, commonly referred as V, has been working hard to establish his standing in the Hollywood animation industry. From an intern in Pixar Animation Studios to head of story at Netflix, V has accumulated for himself an impressive high-profile portfolio.
Look, I try to keep it on the DL, but I'm kind of a, super science genius in my universe. Okay.
Hello, V, and thank you so much for joining us today from LA. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. No, this is really exciting for me.
Just put it out of my chest, I am completely fully geeking out because I'm talking to one of the animators of one of my favorite animation movie ever, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I just have to ask, how does it feel to be part of such an amazing experience? Because I know that, Into the Spider-Verse won an Oscar for Best Animation.
No, it's a complete dream come true. I know it's a cliche to say that, but I've been working all my life to get up to this moment, to bring myself to this moment. Mm-hmm. And the response has been amazing with all the work that I've done, and it's just so exciting,
Animation is notoriously competitive, especially in Hollywood, because I've seen a lot of people are sharing back and forth about how competitive the industry is and how it is so hard to get into an animation studio these days. And so, what is your key? What pushes you to become the person that you are today?
It's highly competitive, as you said, and it requires not only requires talent, it requires a certain set of skills. So, for example, even get into CalArts, it was a very hard school to get into, and I got rejected once, and then I basically had to make the adjustments. So okay, why did I analyze my own kind of, I'm why didn't I get in? Mm-hmm. And then I made the adjustments, and then once I'm in, then you're just around a bunch of talented people.
Yeah.
So you're into a small fish, and now you're in a bigger pond. And then when you go into the industry, okay, maybe I was one of the best artists in my school, and then you're you're just good enough to work. And then there's kind of you have to learn about yourself. You have to learn to work in a team because as an artist, sometimes you get hard-headed, and then you learn how to work in a team, and then you have to stand out.
Right. And then there's also compromisation as well for, your own personal morals or theories when it comes to arts and directing and animation compared to others people as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, does it make it harder for you as being an Asian American, working in the industry, if at all?
Yeah. That's always a hurdle because it's traditionally has been a male, white dominated industry. You don't even see characters that look like you. And then none of the creators, they're all white male usually, It's a hurdle that's not just in this industry, it's in many industries, right? Like Silicon Valley, for example, many Asians working in the field, but then very few get promoted to leadership positions. If you look at the actual percentage, same thing with animation. There's actually a lot of Asians in animation. There's a lot of, because somehow, but then if you look at the number of people in the leadership roles, it's minuscule. And you look at the number of stories being told with Asian backgrounds, minuscule. For example, there's a lot of Asian characters, but for some reason, they're always doing martial arts.
Right.
Can you just be a construction worker? Can you just be
Yeah, exactly.
So the next step is, we're fully fleshed out characters with you who are just relatable,
Born and raised in a Vietnamese household, V grew up just like American kids, but not once did he ever forget his root, thanks to the close-knit bond he has with his family and the Vietnamese community. In fact, he brought much of the tension he felt as an Asian growing up in the US into his storytelling. Now, as head of story at Netflix, he made it a point to help increase true Vietnamese and Asian characteristics and representation in animation.
And are you close with your Vietnamese, parents, relatives, or, do you have a close bond with the Vietnamese community over there?
I'm close with my family. We're a very small family, and I would say that like it's honestly something I need to work on, because part of my success in my mind is that I was able to assimilate very quickly to American culture. Like I embraced like I just grew up loving it, like American culture, American movies, music, and I have a lot of American friends. And actually, I kind of got used to that. I was often the only Asian kid in school, and then we moved to Westminster, and then all of a sudden I was surrounded by other Vietnamese people. But then I actually felt like an odd man out. Like I didn't even know how to do that, how to interact with them. And then but then I think no matter what, like I'll meet like another Vietnamese person anywhere I go, and then you just feel that immediate bond. And then I visited Vietnam for the first time when I was around 15, the early 2000s. And then I was open to this whole new world that's actually, it's my roots. Even though I grew up in an Asian household and a Vietnamese household, and then I grew up in Orange County, which is the largest Vietnamese community outside of Vietnam. Yeah, but then there's something else to just being in Vietnam itself. It's a whole different ball game, and it definitely added to like my character and like my worldview, for sure.
As someone who works in the Hollywood film industry and animation industry for a long time, do you see there is a demand or potential, or if anything is cooking or in the work about Vietnamese stories or Vietnamese American stories? Is there a demand?
Sure. The fact that there's a major Disney movie with Raya, I know it's more like Southeast Asian, but like that the writer, I believe, like some of the creators were Vietnamese, right? Like some of the key creators, and it was and then they definitely like that. That's already a start, like a huge start. And there's gonna be more stories like that. I think, like from here on out, like I think they've done the European fairy tale to death already now, and now it's like they're interested in other stories, and I've been picking my parents' brains about like, hey, like what are the popular stories in Vietnam, like like what are people responding to, and it's kind of like a good way for me to like to get more in touch with my roots too, so right now I'm working on a movie set in Haiti. So I bring out more of my experience as a immigrant, and knowing how, and being sensitive to how I want to be portrayed. So oftentimes when story questions come up, I come from that point of view, where like, well, I know as a Vietnamese American, like I know this is how I would feel about this, or we relate to this in this regard. Like you can always take your history and then you can relate to any culture because they have similar things that they go through.
Thank you so much, V, for joining our show today and spending time sharing with us your stories and your experience in Hollywood, especially in the animation industry. And I hope that all of your future projects will receive immense success.
And thank you for highlighting our stories. Thanks to you. Like your work is pretty invaluable too. So.
Well,
I appreciate it. I'm really excited. Again, super excited myself that I'm invited to this. So.
Vietnam is known as a country rich and diverse in ethnic musical instruments, grabbing the attention of many foreigners, including Kyle enthusiasts. As an American musician, he was immediately drawn towards the unique sound of the trung, a traditional percussion instrument of the Central Highlands, when he listened to it for the first time. And with his love for Vietnam's folk musical instruments, Kyle wants to convey the Vietnamese traditional cultural features through his performances to lots of music lovers around the world. So let's find out the story of an American musician who is passionate about trung, Kyle, in the Connecting Cultures this week.
The beautiful sound of the tuần, a traditional instrument that originated in the central highlands of Vietnam, has inspired Kyle Akunsius, an American musician. Before deciding to pursue his passion for tuần, Kyle played percussions in a Western classical symphony orchestra. However, Kyle wanted to go on a new journey that would take him out of his comfort zone, so Kyle decided to take a shot at the tuần. From the very first moment he laid his fingers on the bamboo tubes, he knew the instrument would bridge the gap between him and Vietnamese culture.
The first time that I played it, I underestimated how difficult it would be because the instrument looks and sounds very similar to a lot of the other percussion instruments that I play normally. But I'm used to playing this direction where the tuần is up and down. So my hands and my brain had a very hard time connecting the right way. For the tuần, I always start from the very basic information and I try to work my way up to where I think it sounds good and it feels good and it's comfortable. I would say it takes me 3 times longer to learn something basic on the tuần as it does on any other drums or percussion instrument that I'm used to playing.
Despite being a professional musician, Kyle Akunsius still found it difficult at first to learn to play the tuần. However, after joining the Sức Sống Mới Bamboo Ensemble in 2018, with the support of Mr. Đồng Quang Vinh, the group's art director, and other members, Kyle has since gradually become one of the members whose performances shouldn't be missed.
Quá trình làm việc với Kai về âm nhạc Việt Nam ấy nó rất là thuận lợi bởi vì là nhất là bạn ấy yêu nhạc Việt Nam, thứ hai là cái trình độ âm nhạc của bạn ấy rất cao, kỹ thuật của bạn ấy rất cao và bạn ấy cũng làm việc rất nghiêm túc, bạn ấy nghiên cứu cực kỳ sâu. Mỗi một cái tác phẩm mà mình giao cho nó không phải là chỉ ở trên phương diện là nốt nhạc.
The minute that I'm playing with an ensemble or other musicians, it's very intimidating because this is their main focus. It'd be like someone coming into an orchestra and being asked to be comfortable and, feel relaxed and calm playing an instrument that they've only played for a little bit of time. As I perform more and as I get to practice more on an instrument, I slowly am feeling better about performing for audiences.
Bạn Khai, bạn ấy là một cái người nước ngoài khá đặc biệt, một người mà chơi luôn ổn định. Khi mà đi diễn mà có Khai thì luôn luôn là yên tâm. Nó thể hiện là một cái sự kiên trì tập luyện. Dĩ nhiên là tài năng rồi, nhưng mà là cái sự kiên trì tập luyện cũng như là khổ luyện thì mới có thể gọi là bách phát bách trúng.
Despite having performed in many parts of the world and experienced many different cultures, for Kyle, Vietnamese ethnic music still holds a lot of interest.
With the tuần, I played 2 of the different voices, an alto voice or like a middle voice, and I played the bass voice. Eventually, I would like to try to branch out and not only play the other tuần voices, but also some of the different Vietnamese instruments. I'm really fascinated with the bamboo piano and also the dan bo. Closest thing I can do is learn the musical language as much as I can to be immersed in as much culture. For me, it's the best way that I can show how I'm invested in living here long term.
The image of a foreigner wearing áo dài playing the tuần is not only a novelty but also shows the connection between the culture and music of Vietnam and the world. Through each performance, Kyle Akunsius serves as a cultural ambassador, contributing to promoting the beautiful traditions of Vietnam to the rest of the world.
And that is the end of our program. If you'd like to catch us online, download the VTV Go app from your Google Play or App Store, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go for more of our programs. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode of A Culture Mosaic. Goodbye for now.